Poet Bruce Williams reading from his book, The Mojave Road and Other Journeys.
Still small voice. Like a fat man crammed in a cheap suit, real problems are never encompassed by anticipation. As when a hypochondriac feels small teeth gnaw at his stomach, then reads his wife's biopsy report, or the way my house burned from a short circuit curling through the walls, not the dry brush igniting on the hills, or how when my daughter reached 13, I was certain fights would flash over a plunging short dress, tattoos, piercings, condoms sliding from her purse, but find my daughter campaigning for a bullhorn this Christmas. A bullhorn that carries 3 football fields and includes a siren too. Perfect for the picket line or a church youth retreat she plans to lead. No bullhorns, says her dad. Why not? This house is a bullhorn-free zone. All right, forget the present. She'll earn her own money babysitting. No bullhorns, yells fascist dad. Not even if you babysit 1,000 years. Besides, who needs a bullhorn the way you both shout, says Mom. But Mom thinks, maybe when the daughter's late for school, on the phone, or draining all the shower's heat when he's lost in another half-funny poem, or when they're both downstairs and I'm upstairs in bed and ate too much to move. Fighting cancer. Maybe those words are wrong and can lead to a burnt Bruce policy, the siege of my colon, bladder, kidneys, the retreat from the body's Moscow or last stand in the Alamo or Little Bighorn of the brain. So I ask, could we just get along, have some kind of truce, agree to coexist? I want to ride my Jeep down dirt roads, watch the mountains purple turn to red, see my teenager become someone I don't almost hate, help my wife negotiate with a relative of yours, add a few more anniversaries to our stack, and you, sweet cancer, love your creativity, your experiments with cellular revision, your variations on normal cells' dull themes. I say, you can keep the prostate, or at least most of it, and plant your slow gardens, but stay there. I admire your energy, ambition, your desire to feed the earth, but be satisfied. No new outposts on the body's west bank. Dismantle any there, and I'll send no suicide chemo in. Let's be friends, live together until a new enemy appears. I forgot to mention that my daughter is now 26, and in May will graduate from law school. She has her megaphone. Okay, really the title poem of this. The Mojave Road was the old way in here, and I think this explains it. After visiting his urologist, he thinks of the Mojave Road near the top of the list of what he wants to live, not read about if he has time. Now almost 130 miles, 124 unpaid, longer when it was the trail, Jedediah Smith, moccasin toward what he'd never seen. Mexican soldiers, San Gabriel adobe walls, the San Joaquin before it was the San Joaquin. Thick with marshes, deer and tule elk still long in 1925 when Bill Robertson, hired gun for the Ox Ranch, and Matt Burt's ex-hired gun shot each other for a radiator full of water at government holes. Last cowboy killing over water rights. Too long in 1949 when an off-course blizzard sealed homesteaders in 12-foot drifts that filled Black Canyon Road until there was no road or Black Canyon anymore. Scat of history, burro, camel, rusted fence and mine, intaglios, petroglyphs, names and dates from Rock Creek scurvied soldiers trying to graffiti their way back home. Dry water tank with Ox Ranch fading from the side. Beautiful somehow in ways I'll have to say, then scratch at rock and plant to show. Sandstone, granite, lava, silver, borax, agate, talc, creosote, palo verde, acatillo, smoke tree, Joshua, tamarisk, palm. Landfair Valley, Afton canyons, fluted high rock walls, and Soda Lake, white as a blank page, almost as dry, crusted salt and sand, but lately 4 inches down, water, quicksand muck. Last person to make it across in 3 months, a ranger. Foolish as accepting a drunken pass, she slammed her truck in 4-wheeled compound low, sliding and slipping, gunned it all the way, her white truck brown to the headlights. Over the phone, she says, I never want to do anything like that again. He tells her, I never want to try, but asks if she'd lowered the air pressure in her tires. No. Stars multiplied, track of coyote, snake, sunrise slapping empty land. Who knows what will happen next? You gather information like kindling, rocks. That's for Dick Barnes. Discussing the Mojave Road with Odysseus. I say, I'm glad he's coming along. My wife can't be with us either. And there won't be much water, only a trickle in Afton Canyon. None, I hope, across dry Soda Lake. He's happy Jeeps once carried warriors. He'll bring a skin of wine, bread, cheese, no maps, because there's Athena. 2 long, sharp spears and a bronze sword with a jeweled handle. The spear might help with snakes. But my Jeep is plain as a hand-built raft. We could sell the sword, buy air lockers, a 6-inch lift, alloy wheels, 35-inch mud swamper tires, and a winch to help us through sand and muck. Unlike my poet friends, the ancient man knows about such things. All good gear, but he'll keep the sword. He feels its edge. If we get in trouble out there, he's sure there will be other Jeeps. Lessons. His doctor wanted the boy to be one of them. The boy refused because of blood, the same with hunting. He didn't love deer, but couldn't open what he might kill. Even fish inside their scales had too much blood. But now the hospice nurse teaches him to clean and bandage his wife's cancer wounds. Ellen calls him Nurse Bruce. They talk of how she'll be a playful ghost for him, a pinch or kiss when he's with his new loves, a leprechaun-sized Ellen scanning the living room, riding the luggage rack of their Jeep. He's careful as he works, changing the dressing daily, watching what he could never watch. The trick, as always, is to blot, not scrub, with soft white gauze. Switch gloves every step, never break half-formed scabs. Compensation. Cancer thins her to a hotter flame. Every other week she buys new clothes. People compliment until they look close and she tells them, "You don't want my diet." Each morning he holds her, keeping off the cold. After he brings her ashes home, Ellen sits on the mantel, seared inside her cedar box. there and not there, like him. Homily. Above the oldest Colorado town, Christ in bronze twists through 12 stations of suffering, but down from the shrine, the valley green, then blue toward Taos. North of us, Mount Blanca, a jagged cup of Navajo sacred snow. This should be enough. Then a snake speeding behind my bare legs, looping down, cutting toward the next switchback in the path. Just a gopher snake, still heavy, longer than the rattler I almost stepped on at our cabin, dark marked, a bluish tinge, muscle of persuasion, scroll of fear. A prose poem that doesn't mention Jeeps. Go here. The most important things are the hardest things to say. David St. John. What does he tell women about his obsession with the openings of a blouse? How he's teenager crazy at more than 68. How he knows he's politically incorrect to the lifelines in his hands. And yes, how he always peaks. Does he blame prostate cancer? His oncologist stopped testosterone and gave him sadness, weight gain, hot flashes in the night. When he complained, she told him, "Welcome to our world." His wife, through lymphoma, laughed along. Is it some credit that he thought, how will I take care of my wife, when he heard his own bad cancer news? Should he mention a surprising gentleness and relief at not being led all places by his dick and never being tempted to unfaithfulness? Is it only bragging to say he stopped the hormone therapy to have energy for Ellen's final weeks? Will women be glad the cancer's dormant while the testosterone seeps back? Should he admit that touching a woman's breast after 4 years, he felt something he can't name? Can women tell he falls in love when one of them smiles at him? Do they sense he might shatter if she held him naked through the night? Muse, let him not seem foolish, sad, repellent. Could women use him without pity? Should he dare a show of hands? The Mojave Road at last. Started in sand and rocks near the parking lot and slot machines of Avi Casino. Speedboats churning the river a day later after the Dead Mountains and the notch of Paiute Pass. Landfair Valley and the New York peaks were thick with cholla and Joshua, a sharpened forest denser than the famous 1 mile south. How many see Landfair's trees? A few. Crossing dry Soda Lake, which wasn't dry nor wet enough to stick jeeps there, our group reached the monument in the center. Each tossed a rock, as travelers do, on the surrounding pile and scanned words on the brass plaque. No, I won't tell you what they said. Blessing. Back from the Mojave Road, he dreamed next to a new woman. He was walking with his first lover who changed to his dead wife. Something was not between them, and he asked if she still loved him. She said no, calmly, as if it were yes, or the direction to a house. Nothing hurt. She moved upward and ahead. Suddenly she was naked and more than beautiful. Then the threads of light that were Ellen unnet, and each thread went its own way. gratitude. My Jeep did not slide off the soaked freeway. No cell phone's tune or daughter's playing, flaming out of sight, and I just got to watch the agape. This is true, I swear. The agape exterminator's truck roll down the street with that Greek word and fish symbol painted on its side. Yahweh is in anger management. Gonzala is penned in Tokyo. King Kong bats a giant tire across a giant cage. Some of what I've said is true. And a couple new ones. These are old guy love poems. And the fact that they're old guy love poems has nothing to do with their being so short. Recycled. He loves her when she touches him, as if both of them were blind and her fingers brailled him alive. Later she becomes order, recipes, antiques, stripped walls. What am I doing here, he wonders. She touches him again. And almost 70. He loves her smell in the morning, almost the same peppery tinge as his first lover. Has this woman become everything that must again be emptied out? And I'll end on one poem that I didn't write, but I would hope, I would have liked to have written. It's by Langston Hughes. Advice. Folks, birthing is hard and dying is mean. So get yourself a little loving in between. Thank you.